Hello once again. This is another opportunity for you who are watching this to get to know our Philmont faculty. We have been doing a series of these with our mathematics department, our art program, our Bible program, and today we're going to be dealing with physical education and all the different things that go on both in the classroom and on the courts and fields around Philmont. So we should introduce you to the people we have here first, and you probably know them if you're watching this video because, well, they're just mainstays here at Philmont. So we're going to start with this guy here who doesn't actually teach in the phys ed program, but he's our newest addition to the team, so we'll let him go first. So your name, sir?
I'm Mr. Joel Alberts.
Yeah.
I've been just finished up my 8th year here at Philmont. I'm primarily a history teacher, but also taught some Spanish and Bible. And my responsibilities in the athletic wing is I'm an assistant cross-country coach and one of the head track coaches. And I've been doing both of those ever since I came.
Now wait a minute, why are you in track and stuff? What'd you do before you came here? I was impressed when I heard that.
I did my undergraduate work at Calvin College, where I was a member of their cross-country and track teams. And then I did college in 4.5 years, and in that I used up my eligibility, so I ran some marathons, including the Boston Marathon, and Chicago Marathon, and Philadelphia Marathon. So that's how I started cross-country in high school, and did it in college, and now I'm coaching it.
When you won all those marathons, right?
No. I don't know if I'd be teaching here and have won those marathons. So.
And all those nice sponsorships and all that.
Yeah.
I should mention that Joel is also sponsored by a program through Brooks Running. It's called Inspire Daily, and which he does with our team. So the Brooks people are fond to have him connected with them because of the great job he does with our kids.
Okay, well, this takes us to the next voice. Okay, this is the newbie in the group. And this is Chip Struck, and he is the head guy in the phys ed program. Tell us about your touch to Philmont and your background that brought you here. And
Boy, it's a long time ago. I did my undergraduate studies at Covenant College. I was a double major in physical education and biblical studies. After graduating from Covenant, I worked a couple of years in the YMCA system. When I was at the Y, I did everything from men's fitness to gymnastics to swimming, summer camp, those sorts of things.
I had no idea of any of this, and I bet you a lot of you watching
Yeah.
this video are learning this for the first time too.
Yeah.
I just got to put your name with swimming and gymnastics.
Well, no, my flexibility has always been awful. When Bill and I put the kids through the presidential fitness battery, I may be able to run fast and jump high perhaps, but I can't touch my toes. So that's a...
And how many years again? How many years here?
Well, this would be completing my 36th year at the academy. And then as a program director at the YMCA, gave me experience for an opportunity to work here. When I came on to Philmont, I didn't have an education major, so I then went to Temple University for a few years and got a master's degree in curriculum and instruction.
Great.
From Temple University.
Great.
And my role here at school is athletic director for the junior high and high school programs. I teach high school phys ed, occasionally middle school phys ed. Currently coaching cross country and track and field. I have had 20 plus years of experience coaching baseball and basketball, and all my delight.
I can hear people out there in the world going, yeah, he was my coach, he's my coach. Now, this guy was one of your students, right?
How cool is that? After, one of the joys of being here so long is seeing former students get married, raise kids of their own, and now his kids are my students and folks on my team. But this year alone, there were 16 either volunteer or paid alumni coaches
Wow.
here at school, and what a gift for our current students.
Amen. And this is Bill DeHere. Bill DeHere has been at Philmont as an instructor for many years, but I'll let him tell the story. Student, away at college training, and then came back. Tell us.
It's my 27th year teaching. I studied at Houghton College. This doesn't seem like that long ago that I was his student. I teach kindergarten through 8th grade, phys ed and health here. Add a little Bible this year. What else?
How many kids you have?
Oh, how many kids? Well, I have 4 kids, 4 boys. Lee's a junior. James is a freshman. Sam's in 7th, and Tommy is soon to come.
And actually, you know, you've broken the chain here, okay? Because you've got 3 boys, right? How old are your boys now?
30, 28, and 24.
All Philmont grads.
Yes.
You've got 4 boys, and then you come along with a girl.
Yeah, I
So,
have a 4-month-old girl.
who is the prettiest girl at Philmont?
She is?
She's the
Oh, yeah, by
absolutely.
far.
Yeah, we know
By
that.
far, she's the prettiest 4-month-old.
Do you want to tell Will what the members of the track team got for Charlotte, gift that they got for Charlotte after the awards program?
Yeah, they got her. They got Charlotte a little onesie that says "Daddy's future running partner."
That's great.
Outstanding, very
That's
thoughtful.
great. Now, what do you coach as well as your classes?
Oh, what don't I coach?
What don't he?
Typically, a typical year involves coaching middle school soccer, varsity girls basketball, and middle school baseball. But I have been known to coach some track and field. I coached girls varsity softball 1 year. And anything else? Seems like there's something else, but most. I think I have not coached tennis and cross country.
No wrestling, right?
And no wrestling.
Okay.
No wrestling.
Okay. Now, there are, as you said, a whole bunch of alumni and faculty who are involved. People like Faith Skutta and Beth Van Veldhuizen and all kinds of alumni who are involved in the programs. What I've been amazed about is how much our little school has been able to get out of our students, the things that they have achieved and such. What do you think are some of the goals of your phys ed program? And how does phys ed fit into the fabric of a Christian school? Anybody want to tackle that? No?
Well, it's probably going to seem like a relatively obvious answer, but my challenge as an elementary and even middle school teacher is to get the students to latch on to the idea that their bodies have been given to them by the Lord and they're to be good stewards of them. And so I'm a big fitness guy. He was and is still a big fitness guy.
Good. I'm glad for the little addendum here. That's good.
My initial thoughts when I think back to 9th, 10th, 11th grade PE was how rigorous things were from a fitness standpoint. And I certainly have followed through with that with the kids, and whether it's warm-up activities that are building strength and flexibility, endurance, or game activities that are building teamwork, both the fitness aspect, keeping your bodies in good shape to honor God, but also competing with godly sportsmanship is paramount to the program. So at this point in the year, we're at the end and we're getting ready for a big field day, so things mesh very well when you consider preparing for this big day where competition is going to be very fierce. And I was just talking with the 3rd graders and the 5th graders about how important it's going to be for them to encourage each other to see the big picture, to not be overwhelmed by the competition, but to really celebrate the talents that they've been given, and then for the 5th graders to come alongside the younger kids when they're disappointed if their team lost or didn't do so well. So, yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, Bill has a real gift in inspiring the elementary kids in fitness. He has developed a jump rope challenge where kids walk in and, let's say, in a minute's time they can get over it 10 times, let's say. And as the year goes on, he has different intervals for them to work to improve their score, and rewards kids as much for their proficiency all along as for the improvement that they've been able to make. He also runs the Presidential Fitness Challenge and encourages folks to develop all areas of fitness and gives them little tokens, patches and things along the way, which has been a boost for them.
Well, I'm a theater guy, you know, so I'm on the other side of the hallway, but even I know about oofball and Mick Whippet, to nickeling, all the things that you do, that every one of the people watching this goes, yeah, I did that. And you've made it a thing where kids leave my study hall instead of studying and see if they can be a part of the gym program for that period. Now, this is something I have a real question about. It's in all the papers. It's articles all over the place with how physically unfit American youth are becoming, the huge interest in video games, non-activity. Are you fighting that, or do you see that as something that you are surprised isn't a part of our fabric? I mean, how are you dealing with that?
The first day of school, when I'm meeting students, or when we have back to school night and I'm talking to parents, first thing I do is is to say to them that the school day should not end at 2:50. I encourage them to get involved in the theater program. I encourage them to get involved in after-school sports. And, you know, happily, a school our size, I think we have gifts, the faculty does, in identifying certain gifts and areas that children would excel in. And then we steer them that direction, whether it's in the arts or in sports or in science or in different clubs. And because of that, I think the kids are mostly all in. You have a terrific turnout with your cast and crew. We have a terrific turnout with kids in the sports program, and you know, we're delighted with that. And especially you think of the sacrifice the parents make. We're not a neighborhood school where folks can just walk here.
A lot of driving.
An awful lot of driving, and the parents have been all in support of both programs, I think. And so you get the idea that the community is pulling together for the good of the child, to develop the whole child.
I'm going to get you involved over here. One of the things I'm thrilled about is that I see some of your key people in sports in all the seasons, also some of our key scholars here. Now, you're a teacher in an academic setting, and you're a coach. Is that unique at Philmont, do you think, this scholar-athlete idea? And you guys, how do you inculcate that? Is that something you accent as you're going through your year?
I mean, this is the only place I've ever taught at, so I can't really speak to how other schools deal with that, and is that necessarily unique. But I would say that is a special gift that a lot of the kids excel in the classroom and excel on the field and the court and things like that. I think, as Chip said, that's a testimony to the idea of the community, training the whole child up, the commitment of many of our parents to foster for the whole life of the child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're training the kids in academics, but we're also training the kids to be good Christian leaders. We're training them to be healthy individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And is it something that I think it is something that we emphasize. You know, as a coach, if a kid has a lot of work, that kid can take the day off. It's not something I want to happen every day, and I have had to tell students, or we've had to tell students that, you know, school is your first priority, and if you can't keep up with the work and be on the team, then you need to do that.
And as somebody who's been out there in some other schools and other programs, that is somewhat unique, you know, because often you have to dive for the program that you have. And you see, primary is studies, and you want these kids to have a life beyond the court, beyond the field when they get into college. all of our kids do. That's really good.
It's also very exciting, the amount of support that the faculty gives to the sports program. Both in terms of releasing the kids for away games
Yeah.
and working during free periods perhaps to catch up, to get them caught up for the material that they've missed. Some of our best sports fans are the teachers. After school is over, folks aren't hopping in their car and rolling home. They're going out to the fields here, or if we're having ball games, they'll come back and cheer the kids on there, as you've noticed with the plays.
Sure.
It's how exciting is that for the kids to see the teachers getting involved in their extracurricular, co-curricular life.
And that sharing, I mean, I can speak to that. I mean, we are both people who are interested in theater. We're both people who are interested in physical fitness. So we've got a kid who's doing well in their classroom. They're the stage manager for the play, and they're also on the basketball team. That's the best for the child, and it's something that we all are really excited about. We are a small school. Okay, we have 30 to 40 students in a grade in our high school. We do have sports programs for middle school, and then you're talking about field day and physical fitness for the elementary. What do you think are some of the challenges for a small Christian school in the marketplace that is high school and inter high school sports? Anyone want to tackle that?
Well, quite honestly, for the basketball program, the challenge is to get enough girls out on the team. And in most schools, you'd want to have a JV program and a varsity program, and we have that in some sports, but not in others because of the amount of people that are available. So it's kind of kudos to the kids who have to step up. So the challenge is for those ninth graders, many times, in soccer, and it was in basketball and in many sports where they just have to kind of jump right into the varsity level, and they have to submit to less playing time and playing at a higher level, and they have to prepare for that. So the kids are very patient, and they're very humble. For the basketball team, I had 9 girls. And
what a shame, those 9 girls did so poorly this year, because they're just small Philmont, only 9 girls. You got to tell everybody about your season, okay?
So out of the 9 girls, 2 or 3 of them, I'm sure, would have admitted to you at the beginning of the year that they were JV level players, and they were not going to expect a lot of playing time, but they were there because they love basketball and they were there to support. And that, in a lot of ways, was the key factor in us doing so well, because you need unity amongst your team, and if you have people that aren't getting playing time and there's dissension or whatever, that's rough. But there wasn't. The girls knit together very well, and
how well did you do?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. How well did you do, Bill?
We did pretty well. We managed to make it to the state playoffs for the first time in the school history.
How far did you go in the state
And
playoffs?
we managed to win 3 state playoff games, which put us 1 game shy of the state championship game, which means that we finished 4th in the state. So it
Did you
was.
win a district title then?
We
too?
won a district
And a
title.
BAL title?
We won a BAL title.
And
we
a
won-
Constitution
we won a
Division
Constitution
title.
Hey, you got some fans here, Bill. You got some
We
fans.
won 26 games, which is about 8 more than we'd ever won before. But again, Mr. Legal was asking about the challenges, and the challenges are to be able to put together a program with a small amount of kids. And the reason why it works is because of the kids and their attitudes and their maturity and what they bring.
And I mean, in the midst of all this, the whole school got behind the team. There's no doubt about it. And I would have those kids in my class, and they had some amazing demands on them. Their homework is done. They're participating in class. They know just what we're doing with our assignments. To me, that was just a tremendous testimony to how you run your program. And then also, and you're not going to say it about yourselves, but I hear from the kids all the time that what makes them want to be in the program is the humility of the coaches, the patience that the coaches show, mixed with driving them to the next level. I mean, it's not just niceness, it's niceness with also an undercurrent of push, you know?
I was going to say that we have such a rich level of experience among our coaches. Ron Bierma, some 30 years ago, started the tennis program. He's been there ever since. Mr. Askey in girls soccer has been coaching for 17 or 18 years.
Mr. Kephart in wrestling.
Mr. Kephart in wrestling from high school through college and maybe 15 years. Mr. Dalton in boys varsity basketball has been coaching for 28 years.
This year we had such a great team and such great results. Faith Skutta was a student here, went off to a career in basketball in college, and then came back to us, and then boom, she was a part of this year. She added a lot, I know, to your program.
Well, she's enormous. Yeah, I mean, she, like I mentioned, the girls were a key factor, and Faith was just, was an enormous help. She loves the girls, she loves the sport, she's very committed, she works with them in the off season. You won't find too many coaches that are willing and able to put the sneakers on and get in workout gear and practice with them. Well, you notice we had 9 people, so she made 10, and she many times mimicked the opposing team's best player, and so you had to try to stop Mrs. Skutta, and that was no easy task.
Okay, so you can tell us, in addition to that, about the boys' basketball season, and you can tell us a little bit about cross-country and track, okay? So, good sir?
The boys' basketball season, we had a very talented bunch of kids, been with us for years, and we've watched them grow, and I think we were expecting them to do well this year, and they didn't disappoint. They were the Constitution Division champions in our league, in the Bicentennial Athletic League.
Third time in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, and they qualified for the state playoffs as well. And the road to advance in the state playoffs is a challenging one in our district. And we wound up having to play a very talented charter school from Philadelphia in our first round. And happily, the boys advanced to go on to games that were out in Harrisburg area, and they lost a game there by a whisker. But something I was going to say in thinking about the challenges, about 8 years ago, our school joined the PIAA, and one nice thing about the PIAA is you break folks down into apples and apples. So we're competing against, at the state level, schools that are similar to our size. Not quite as small. We are the smallest school in the district, but we are competing against schools in our district and throughout the state that are about the same size as our school. And so that levels the playing field somewhat. And if you're not, I'll let Joel speak to cross country. If you're not able, in some sports, if you're not able to advance as a team, you can advance as an individual.
And you asked the question about what's a challenge for a small school like ours, and one of the biggest challenges is that we can't offer the same program that a larger public school or larger private school can, of having multiple sports programs. But we do offer programs, and I think we offer the programs that our kids can excel at,
Right.
and that we can also catch a lot of kids in. And so
We're not going to have football.
Yeah, we're not going to have.
It's not going to happen here because of the size of our school and
yeah.
the students we have to draw from.
Yeah, all this concussion stuff too. I don't know,
But we've got soccer, we've got cross country and tennis in the fall, so
Yeah.
there's things going on.
Yeah, and I think there are sports that a lot of kids can participate in, and with the cross country team, as Chip said, cross country is a sport that both a team and an individual sport. That to make it to the state championship, you win the district, you can go as a team. But the cool thing is that you can also send individual qualifiers. And when we first joined the PIAA, we won the district title our first year. We sent our team, and we finished and tied for 6th place, 1 point away from 4th. Right.
Correct.
the next year we were second in the district, but then this year, we'd had some years that we didn't finish as high as we had before, but this year, they reclassified all the districts, and so now we're in the single A district. There's 3 districts, the 3
Divisions.
classifications as opposed to 2.
Okay.
And so this year we were able to send 2 individuals to the state finals of cross country.
Amazing.
Isaac Stemler and Katie Guerra were able to go. They both did well. I think both of them, they were both sophomores this year, and both kind of have all right, I know what it is now. I know what I have to do to get there. So we're expecting big things from them this summer and into the fall.
And you're one of those coaches that runs alongside the students.
Yeah, yeah. It's part of. It's a lot of fun to be able to go out there and run with the guys or the girls and chat with them on just different. It's a different feeling where I can ask them questions about their life.
And the 2 names you gave us, Isaac and Katie, are your students in the daytime.
Yes. So I teach them because they're 10th graders. I teach 10th grade history, and so I see them in the classroom, but outside of class as well.
Now this is a natural lead-in, okay? You mentioned about our success in the fall, okay? Now in the spring, we did not get to go so far with those individuals because of something that happened. And I'll do the setup for this, and then you guys have to talk about all the decisions that needed to be made. We had, coming up to some finals, we had a huge day of rain. And it was supposed to be Friday and Saturday, the 2 days that were going to be, the kids were going to have to go. Huge day of rain on Friday, and so the decision was made by our league to take us Saturday, Sunday. And I know you made a suggestion, how about Saturday, Monday? Because there's an issue here for our students and our worldview about running those races on Sunday. So how did this all come out, and what went into the decisions? It was an amazing thing for us to watch the department sort this out.
Well, the issue was that for the district, the way it's for the track and field, and the way qualification works for the state championships is that you have a district meet in which if you finish and at the district meet, if you meet a state qualifying time or you win the district, you get to go to state finals. So you have to do it there. And that is normally a Friday and Saturday event. Friday are some of the finals and mostly preliminary events and stuff like that on Saturday as well. But because there's a huge rainstorm that came in on Friday, they decided to shift everything 1 day back. And that does present a problem. And so immediately we as not only coaching staff, but we had to talk to the administrators, and we had to bring everyone in kind of to get a feeling about, okay, how do we approach this in the best interest of our school and our Christian world life here.
Now,
I'll let Chip.
let Chip go on this. There was a student video made here at school where we interviewed our seniors, and it's shown in chapel. And they interviewed the faculty for the first time this year. And they said, what advice would you give to students for college next year? And they interviewed you, and then all this happened just a few weeks later. What did you say in the interview, Chip?
I encourage them to make Sunday a special day.
And suddenly, they wanted us to run on Sunday. This sounds a lot like Chariots of Fire, right?
I have the theme of Chariots of Fire as a ringtone on my phone, and it's no surprise that it's my favorite movie, but it was on paper a very easy decision to make because the very core, the very foundation of on which our school stands, the various confessions, we want to honor the Lord's Day, and we were not going to compete. To look out at the 14 qualifiers and to tell them that was more challenging. I got pretty choked up, and Coach Alberts had to step in. But,
well, we don't even give tests here on Mondays at Philmont.
Correct.
Because we say
Correct.
students should be worshiping and with their families and honoring God on Sunday and not have to study for a test.
Right.
So we don't even give tests. So
Right.
this is kind of our tradition, but these are kids that could go to state finals and maybe win state championships if we would just bend the rules this one time.
Yeah. Joel and I and the coaching staff were pretty confident that of the 14, 3 of our kids had an excellent chance to advance. Jana Goodman in the javelin, Lizzie Cole in the high jump, and Sierra Green in either the 100 meters or 200 meters. And I will say that during those couple days of deliberation, when our kids were asked what they thought we should do, almost to a child, they said that we need to stand.
That's great. And
And
so
I think-
you've been putting that into them
Yeah.
in all the other things you've been saying and doing, so.
And it's a testimony to our kids and families, because when we told them, I think the kids were really disappointed.
Sure.
I mean, we as coaches were disappointed that the decision to move it to Saturday, Sunday would, and but they understood. They were disappointed, but they dealt with it like adults. And I was, as a coach, I'm getting a little choked up now, too. Thinking
still
about
am.
how well they took it and how mature they were in that decision. It's a great testimony to them, to what Chip has been doing over the years, what Bill's been doing over the years, what their parents have been teaching them.
And I'm glad you're being transparent emotionally about this, because from my viewpoint as a parent of graduates of Philmont and as somebody that worked with the same kids you work with, so many other programs say, look, it's all about the program and we're going to win at any cost. But you were willing to stand with them and show them something that was going to train them for the future. And it wasn't an easy decision, but look how they stood with you, and your emotion shows that you're much more concerned about the hearts of these kids than about their scores. Ultimately, it's great to have both, You had someone like Jana, who also got a full basketball scholarship this year because of the work she did with Bill and Faith. But the last thing that you're sharing with her at the end of the year is what's really important. What choices are going to make in the future. And I mean, I think it's kind of cool that, in the macho world of phys ed, we've got people here who have hearts for the Lord. And that's really exciting. So as we wrap this all up, okay, you guys have been very, very helpful in sharing. And I hope you people, that are watching this are as excited about this as I am. Anything you want to say, about what it is to work with kids in this area? I mean, what's been the biggest blessing? And we'll end with that. If you think about working with kids in the area of physical education, sports, and so on, kind of why do you do it? Why do you put the time in, the effort in, the emotion in?
I do it for the pay, Will.
Oh yeah, those huge amount of things. Yeah. I don't believe that at all. You wouldn't even be here if that was the case. But what's the biggest blessing? I mean, as you think about how this works. I mean, what keeps you doing this for 36 years when and I know, had you gotten to a public situation, had you gotten to a different situation in phys ed, in training and so on, it could have been much more financially feasible, maybe much less time orientation. Why are you doing
I
this?
think that, but they'll probably give me a hard time because I piped up first. But the community of believers.
Okay.
You've got to go through a lot of ups and downs. As great a season as we had this year, I had some seasons where we only won a few games,
Good.
and it was very difficult. But why do I do it? Why do I keep coming back? We certainly all feel called to do so. So that's kind of an easy answer. We feel gifted in doing so because we've been affirmed over the years by parents, by colleagues, by the kids themselves that come back. And so, each year the years roll around and we're tired at the end of the year, but come the next year we're ready for the challenge again because there is a great network, there's a great community. We're not perfect, but we work together and support each other, and And it's God's Spirit that's working amongst us, and God does powerful things when we work together. So, yeah, not for the pay, but to really enjoy doing it, to be able to call parents, as I've had to make a few phone calls recently, and to know that they're going to support
Yeah.
what I'm doing, whether it's in the classroom or on the field.
Joel?
Well, I think Bill touched on it, the idea of the community, and we talked about, building the whole life of the child.
Mhm.
And so as a teacher, I get to see that in the classroom, but then as a coach, I get to see these kids in a different light. And it, in a lot of ways, it helps me in the classroom with them. You can get some yahoos in the classroom, but a lot of times your relationship as a teacher is different with them if you're their coach as well. But then, the coaching reminds you of the hearts of these kids, and you may not see that always in the classroom, where you have, a number, 20 students in front of you every day, but then when you go on the field, or you go out for a run with them, you can talk to them about what's going on in their lives. And so it's just that idea of investing in these young people, and training them up to be Christian men and women that will go off and work and build God's kingdom.
Okay, well,
I
you now.
Yeah, I think the kids are getting it, the spiritual dimension of our program, that in all areas of life they're seeking to glorify God, and they're able to have fellowship with the Holy Spirit and fellowship with one another. The expression in the movie Chariots of Fire, and when I run, I feel His pleasure. You could say it on stage, you could say it in the classroom, and you certainly are saying it within our sports program. And the sports that Joel and I are working with, and sometimes even on the varsity level, folks may be beginners, but you see them progress and improve and get it physically, but also get it spiritually, that this is an act of worship, what they're doing. And that is so rich. And I will say that living close by to the part of Fairmount Park, the Wissahickon Trail, is a particular delight for me to be able to go and do all this exercising in God's creation down the trail.
It's not just running around the track.
It has been rich, and unlike Joel, I coach on a bicycle. So the neat thing about that is I can spend time with beginners, I can spend time with intermediate folks, and I can eventually catch up to the front group and participate in their training. So it's such a blessing.
I'm glad you brought up that quote from Chariots of Fire, because I think that's, for me, I've gone to the outside. Kids love being in the sports program here. They love being in the sports after school, but there's even that wonderful community in your classrooms. The kids know they're welcome, know that at whatever skill level they're at, it's going to not be an embarrassment for them. It's an amazing program that you've built, and that's a good reason for people to send their children here. That's just a little aside commercial. But thank you very much for your time and for your service for the Lord.